Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel, Spanish Pills, the best YouTube channel to learn to speak Spanish. Hola a todos y a todas, valientes amantes del español, y bienvenidos a mi canal, Spanish Pills, el mejor canal de YouTube para aprender a hablar español. In this video, I'd like to share with you a few very useful, muy útiles, Spanish phrases. Why are these phrases so important? What makes them so special that I've decided to make a video only about them? Well, let's solve the mystery. Bueno, vamos a resolver el misterio. They all have one thing in common. What is it? You're wondering. The verb tener, that is, to have in English. So, today you're gonna learn how and when to use the most important Spanish phrases with the verb tener. As you will see in English, we're using these phrases, you don't use the verb to have, but other verbs instead. Okay, that's not entirely true. I mean, there are a few exceptions, lucky you, where in English as well as in Spanish, you do use the same verb, the verb to have, tener. Menos mal, right? So, like always, como siempre, I will be with you every step of the way, not only teaching you how to pronounce these phrases correctly, but also sharing with you some extra relevant information regarding some very important grammatical and vocabulary features about them. This time, we won't make any exercises. Are you happy or sad about that? I don't know. We're just gonna learn some phrases that I really hope you can start using right now, ya mismo. Entonces, ¿estáis preparados para aprender un poquito más de español? ¿Sí? Estupendo. That's the attitude. Esa es la actitud. 3, 2, 1. Comenzamos. Before I forget, for those of you who are interested in learning how to conjugate the verb tener in Spanish, to have in English, I have a gift for you. At the end of the video, you will find the present, the imperfect, the preterite, the future, and the conditional of this verb. Remember that it is an irregular verb, so you will have to learn and to start practicing a lot with it as soon as possible. Okay? So let's start. Primera frase. Tener sed. To be thirsty. Okay. In English, you use the verb to be. In Spanish, you use the verb to have. In English, you put an adjective after the verb to be. Thirsty. In Spanish, we use a noun, sed, which is feminine. So it would be la sed, but the expression is tener sed. So let's take a look at the example. Tengo sed. I'm thirsty. So far, so good. What if you want to say that you are really thirsty? In Spanish, you would say tengo mucha sed. And if you are really, really thirsty, you would say tengo muchísima sed. Okay? Notice that you say muchísima or mucha because sed is feminine. Okay? You don't say mucho sed or muchísimo sed, but muchísima or mucha. And if you're not thirsty, you would say no tengo sed in Spanish. Okay? And if you are a bit thirsty, you could say tengo un poco de sed. And if you are a little bit thirsty, you could say tengo un poquito de sed. Now let's see what happens with tener hambre, to be hungry.
Like tener sed, in English you use the verb to be instead of the verb to have. After the verb to be, you put an adjective, and in Spanish you put a noun. Hambre. El hambre. It's masculine, by the way. However, when you want to say that you are really hungry, you say tengo mucha hambre. You use the feminine. If you want to say you're really, really hungry, you would also use the feminine instead of the masculine. You would say tengo muchísima hambre. But remember that hambre is masculine, okay? The definite article is el hambre. What if you want to say that you are a bit hungry? Tengo un poco de hambre. You are a little bit hungry. Tengo un poquito de hambre. Now let's take a look at the example. No tengo hambre. I'm not hungry. Tercera frase. Tener miedo. To be afraid of. In Spanish, if you need a preposition after the expression tener miedo, it's the same. De. Of in English, de in Spanish. Okay, the verb in English, to be, in Spanish, to have. After the verb to be, you put an adjective, afraid. After the verb to have, we put a noun, miedo, el miedo. But we don't use the definite article, just tener miedo. Take a look at the example. Quédate conmigo, que tengo miedo de estar sola. About this sentence, there are a couple of things that I would like you to pay attention to. First of all, we have two sentences and they are connected with a word, que. We use this word as a linking word a lot, so get used to it, okay? Let's pay attention to the second part of the sentence first. Tengo miedo de, so far so good, estar sola. In English, after a preposition, you use an ing ending verb, but in Spanish, after a preposition, we use an infinitive. That's why in English we say of being alone, and in Spanish we say de estar sola. About the first sentence, I'm not going to tell you much about it because it's an imperative with a reflexive verb, and this is something I haven't really explained to you yet in any of my videos, so I just want you to pay attention to how this works. We have a reflexive verb, so we need a reflexive pronoun. The verb is quedarse, and the reflexive pronoun is te. Like with an infinitive, the reflexive pronoun goes at the end of the verb, just one word, quédate. And then about conmigo, with me, contigo, with you, with us, con nosotros, we've already seen this. Okay, we can move on. Tener paciencia. This is a very important one. To be patient in English. Once again, in English you use the verb to be, in Spanish you use the verb to have, tener. After the verb to be in English you put an adjective, but after the verb to have in Spanish you use a noun, paciencia, which is feminine, la paciencia. But the expression is tener paciencia, just like that. Now let's take a look at the example. Ten paciencia, todo saldrá bien. About the first sentence, nothing else to say. About the second one, just notice that we're using the future of the verb salir because the expression to be alright can be translated as salir bien, and it's an irregular one. Saldrá. Tener tiempo. Finally, we have an expression that has the same verb both in English and in Spanish. Tener. In English, you say to have time, and in Spanish, you say tener tiempo. So, this is not going to be hard at all. Let's take a look at the example. Lo siento, pero hoy no tengo tiempo. Sorry, but I don't have time today. Like it happened with tener hambre or tener sed, if you want to say that you do have time, you would say tengo mucho tiempo. Maybe muchísimo tiempo. No, that doesn't sound right to me. Tengo mucho tiempo. Or if you don't have much time, you could say no tengo mucho tiempo or tengo poco tiempo. Okay? Use the masculine because tiempo is masculine and this is not an exception like it happened with hambre. Tener razón. Okay, this time in English you use the verb to be and then an adjective, right. In Spanish you use the verb to have, tener, and a noun, razón, which is feminine, la razón, tener razón. Let's take a look at the example. Es verdad, tienes razón, it's true, you're right. Now let's say the opposite. It's not true, you're not right. No es verdad, no tienes razón. And there's something else that you can say in Spanish, but I'm not sure if you can say it like that in English. You can say, tienes mucha razón. If you want to make emphasis on how right someone is, you can say that, tienes mucha razón. But you cannot say tienes poca razón. That's wrong. Only tienes mucha razón. And maybe tienes muchísima razón. But with mucha razón is enough. Another one. Tener prisa. In English, to be in a hurry. In Spanish, tener prisa. To have, and then a noun, prisa, which is feminine, la prisa, but the expression tener prisa. Now, let's take a look at the example. Ahora no puedo ayudarte. Tengo mucha prisa. I can't help you right now. I'm in a hurry. Notice how I make emphasis by using the word mucha. I can even say tengo muchísima prisa. Maybe I can say no tengo prisa, the opposite. But tengo poca prisa? No, that's not right. That's wrong. Vamos a ver esta. Tener cariño. In English, to be fond of someone. Okay, it's very different, the expression in English and in Spanish, right? Cariño is masculine, el cariño, but remember the expression, tener cariño. The example, le tengo mucho cariño. I am very fond of him. In English, you would use very or really. In Spanish, we would say mucho or muchísimo. And the personal pronoun him would be le. The very first word in Spanish, le tengo mucho cariño, that would be him in English. If the sentence would be I'm very fond of you, in Spanish, what would you say? Te tengo mucho cariño. Tener sueño. This has nothing to do with to have a dream, tener un sueño, okay? This is to feel sleepy. In English, you use the verb feel and an adjective, sleepy. In Spanish, to have, tener sueño. Sueño is masculine, el sueño. But remember, the expression is tener sueño. You can say, tengo mucho sueño, tengo poco sueño, no tengo sueño. Okay, let's take a look at the example. No sé por qué, pero últimamente tengo sueño todo el tiempo. It's a word-by-word translation. No sé por qué, pero últimamente tengo sueño todo el tiempo. All the time. Tener ganas de. Okay, about this one. Tener ganas de means like to be in the mood or to really want to do something. If you pay attention to the example, you'll see, tengo muchas ganas de ir de vacaciones a Hawaii. I really want to go on vacation to Hawaii. You can say tengo muchas ganas, tengo pocas ganas, or no tengo ganas. We always use ganas in the plural, okay? It's feminine, by the way, but always the plural. That's why you say muchas ganas or pocas ganas. Tener éxito. In English, you have two different ways of translating this one. You can say to succeed, which can also be translated in Spanish as triunfar, but also as tener éxito, or to be successful. Once again, in English, the verb to be plus an adjective, and in Spanish, the verb to have, tener, plus a noun, éxito, el éxito. Éxito is masculine, so you can say tengo mucho éxito, tengo muchísimo éxito, tengo poco éxito, tengo éxito, no tengo éxito. Let's take a look at the example. Tienes que trabajar muy duro para tener éxito. You have to work really hard to succeed. Tener años. This is a very easy one. If someone asks you, how old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? In English, you can say, for instance, I'm 20. In Spanish, you could also say, tengo 20. Because of the question, the person you're talking to knows what you mean, okay? But pay attention to the example. Mi hija Ana ya tiene 8 años. My daughter Anna is already 8 years old. You could say in English, my daughter Anna is already 8, and the information is clear. But in Spanish, you cannot say, mi hija Ana ya tiene 8, because the person you're talking to would ask you, ocho what? There's something missing. Años. You have to say, 8 años. Tener la culpa. This one I think is more complicated in English than it is in Spanish. Tener la culpa. For once, we're going to use the definite article. Tener la culpa. Okay, la is the definite article. In English, it would be the example, Pablo is to blame for what happened. In Spanish, I think it's easier. Pablo tiene la culpa de lo que pasó. Notice that tener la culpa, the preposition that comes after is de. It would be of in English, but it's for. And lo que is what. When you use what in an interrogative sentence, it means que or cuál. It depends. But when you use it in a non-interrogative sentence, it means lo que. Tener envidia. Envidia is translated as envy in English, but tener envidia is translated as to be jealous of. And we use the same preposition, tener envidia de, of in English, de in Spanish. Envidia is feminine. You can say tengo mucha envidia, no tengo envidia, tengo poca envidia. Poca envidia sounds weird, but who knows. Let's pay attention to the example. No deberías confiar en Claudia. Te tiene mucha envidia. You shouldn't trust Claudia. Notice that in English, you don't put a preposition after the verb trust, but we do in Spanish. We cannot say no deberías confiar Claudia, but in Claudia, en Claudia. And now the second part, tener envidia de. You only use the preposition de after the expression tener envidia if you feel jealous of something, not of someone. If you feel jealous of someone, you don't use the preposition de. You use the indirect object. Te tiene mucha envidia. how would you translate she's really jealous of me? Me tiene mucha envidia. Or she's really jealous of them. Les tiene mucha envidia. And what about she's really jealous of your success? It would be tiene mucha envidia de tu éxito. Tener mareos. First of all, we use the plural, mareos. It's masculine, so you can say tengo muchos mareos or tengo pocos mareos. Don't say tengo muchísimos mareos, that's too exaggerated. Or no tengo mareos. And it means to be dizzy. So in English you use the verb to be plus an adjective. And in Spanish you use the verb to have, tener, plus a noun, mareos. Let's pay attention to the example. Desde que me caí por las escaleras, tengo muchos mareos. Since I fell down the stairs, I've been very dizzy. Since, it can mean desde, since last year, desde el año pasado, or desde que, since something happened. I fell down the stairs. Caerse, reflexive verb, me caí por las escaleras, down the stairs. And then the second part, in English I've used the present perfect, and in Spanish I've used the present. I guess you could also use the present perfect in Spanish. He tenido muchos mareos. It would mean the same. So, if there's anything else you would like me to explain to you about this sentence, just ask. Tener tos. To have a cough in English. You can say, tengo mucha tos. In English you would say, I have a bad cough. Tengo poca tos. Tengo tos or no tengo tos. Tengo muchísima tos. Well, it could happen. Yes, you could say it. The example, me duele mucho la garganta y tengo mucha tos. Tener fiebre. Both in Spanish and in English, we are going to use the same verb, to have, tener. In English, you say to have a fever. In Spanish, you say tener fiebre. You don't put anything in between, unless you want to make emphasis. You can say tengo mucha fiebre or tengo poca fiebre. Tengo fiebre or no tengo fiebre. The example, hoy no fui a trabajar porque tenía fiebre. It's a word-by-word translation. Tener dolor. In English, to feel pain. In Spanish, you could also say sentir dolor. But when you want to express that you are feeling pain, you say tener dolor. You use the verb to have. Now, pay attention to the example. Debo ir al dentista porque tengo un dolor de muelas insoportable. I must go to the dentist because I have an unbearable toothache. Okay, the thing is that in English, when you feel pain, a specific pain, you say, I have a toothache, a stomach ache, a headache. You know what I mean. In Spanish, you say, tengo dolor de, and then you express what it hurts. Tengo dolor de cabeza. Tengo dolor de muelas. Tengo dolor de espalda. Tengo dolor de barriga. If you are not being specific about where it hurts, you can say tengo mucho dolor or tengo poco dolor, but only if you're not specific. If you want to say that something specific hurts, you have a headache, you would say me duele mucho la cabeza. You would use the verb doler. But that's a lesson for another video, okay? Well, the last two expressions, tener calor and tener frío, are a bit complicated to explain. I will try to do my best. Let's start with tener calor. Okay, tener calor. Tener calor in English means to be hot. But pay attention to the example. Abre la ventana que tengo calor. First of all, two sentences and one linking word, a very famous one in Spanish, que. Get familiar to that word because we use it a lot. Abre la ventana, imperative. Tengo calor. That's how we express that it's hot in Spanish. But I've told you that tener calor means to be hot. But the thing is that in English, you don't say open the window, I'm hot. I think you would probably say open the window, it's hot in here. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. But I think it sounds better, it's hot in here, rather than I'm hot. What do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Última frase. Tener frío. It's more or less the same as tener calor. Pay attention to the example. Cierra la ventana que tengo frío. Two sentences, one linking word. Que. Cierra la ventana, imperative. Close the window. And then tengo frío. And I've translated that last part as I am getting cold. Is it correct to say close the window, I'm cold? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. It's up to you. I mean, you are the ones who can speak English. I'm the one who's teaching you to speak Spanish. I'm just telling you that in Spanish, we would say tengo frío. So, tener frío means to be cold in English. And you can say tengo mucho frío or tengo poco frío or no tengo frío. And it's the same with tener calor. You can say tengo mucho calor, tengo poco calor, or no tengo calor. And now my gift to you. For those of you who love conjugating verbs, here you have presente. Yo tengo, tú tienes, él, ella tiene, nosotros, nosotras tenemos, vosotros, vosotras tenéis, ellos, ellas tienen. The past. Remember that we have three past in Spanish: imperfecto, indefinido, and pasado continuo. But we're only gonna see imperfecto and indefinido. That is, imperfect and preterite. Imperfecto. Yo tenía, tú tenías, él, ella tenía, nosotros, nosotras teníamos, vosotros, vosotras teníais, ellos, ellas tenían. Indefinido. Preterite. Yo tuve, tú tuviste, él, ella tuvo, nosotros, nosotras tuvimos, vosotros, vosotras tuvisteis, ellos, ellas tuvieron. Futuro. Yo tendré, tú tendrás, él, ella tendrá, nosotros, nosotras tendremos, vosotros, vosotras tendréis, ellos, ellas tendrán. And finally, condicional. Yo tendría, tú tendrías, él, ella tendría, nosotros, nosotras tendríamos, vosotros, vosotras tendríais, ellos, ellas tendrían. If you've reached this far, congratulations, you've made it. Thank you very much for watching. Muchísimas gracias por ver este video. Remember, like and subscribe. Nos vemos muy prontito con un nuevo vídeo. Hasta pronto. Adiós.